Time now for an in-depth look at the market news at this hour. For that, I'm joined on the line by Mr. Daniel Yu, global strategist at Yuanta Securities. Mr. Yu, thank you as always for coming on.
Thank you very much for having me, always.
Well, this week we've seen reports that the Trump administration is looking at ways to limit investment in China by possibly delisting Chinese stocks. Officials denying that, however. What's the story there and in the global markets?
Sure. As you already know that on last Friday, because of the news that they're limiting the Chinese stocks listing in the U.S. or any investment to Chinese company to be limited, was making a very negative news that allowed the overall market to go down quite significantly. But yesterday, it recovered as the listing of Chinese stocks in the U.S. Was fake news, according to the Peter Navarro, who is the advisor to the White House. As you know, that Peter Navarro is the most aggressive in terms of the Chinese-related policies, and he's the person who wrote Death by China. So he is quite anti-Chinese in terms of the various measures that he's recommending to the White House. And if he says that is a fake news, then maybe it is accepted as such. So clearly the news has initially negatively impacted, but now it seems to be moving away. But still, nevertheless, there's a distrust between U.S. and China in relating to the trade policies. As far as the market's concerned, they all recovered quite nicely. U.S. was up 0.5%, S&P, and 0.75% for NASDAQ. Also, European market slightly up less than 0.5%. Nikkei is up over 0.7%. Taiwan's up 1%. And also, kospi seems to be recovering nicely as well, as kospi was up about 0.%. Kosdaq is up 1.5%. As for China, it's closed.
Yeah, we'll have to see if it is fake news or not. Some do say that would be the logical next move for the U.S. But sure. Here in Korea, a free trade agreement is coming into effect today with countries in Central America. Exports haven't been so great for Korea recently with the trade wars affecting Asia. So what kind of opportunity does this Central America deal present? And what might those countries want to buy from Korea?
Sure. In terms of the news flows, yes, it is positive news. But in terms of the actual amount of the positive news or positive indication for the export, we're not sure that is going to be that significant. But nevertheless, it is positive news. The Nicaragua and Honduras have signed FTA with Korea, and it is 16th FTA that Korea is signing. In terms of what kind of goods that these countries might be importing from Korea would be auto, steels and cosmetics and medicine related. So those sectors should benefit somewhat. Also, government is saying that the energy and infrastructure and construction related businesses or deals could be made quite sharply, and that should benefit the overall the pictures for Korean economy. But in terms of the economic size of these countries, it's very small. So I don't know whether that's going to be anything majorly significant. But nevertheless, in terms of the flows of news, it is finally one positive news coming after various numbers of negative news.
Yes, indeed. And speaking of one of today's biggest stories, we see consumer inflation fell below zero in September, the first time that's ever happened. Obviously, people are talking about deflation, though Statistics Korea says that's not what this is. Why is inflation now negative, and do you think it's going to keep dropping?
Well, I mean, we should expect a low inflationary environment. We're not sure whether, we are entering a deflationary environment, but clearly, we are entering an area of stagflation or stagnation phase where inflation is probably below 1% kind of territories. As you said, it is down by 0.4% year on year. This is first time since 1965. In terms of the why it has actually occurred, the agriculture and fishery price down 8.2%, quite significant drop. So food prices were the major reason. And also the manufacturing-related industrial production prices were down 0.2% as well, which is troublesome. The government is saying that it is because of the education support and health insurance incentives that have increased, allow the inflation number to turn negative, and it's temporary and it's that inflation should recover. But I think that in terms of the population changes that we're seeing, and the various numbers are indicating that growth rates are slowing down quite significantly, we are probably entering a much slower pace of the price increases in terms of inflation. I think that one thing that we need to watch out is that we do need to see a lot more aggressive boosting measures, particularly in the fiscal side as well as the monetary policy side. Yes, we are seeing some measures that is allowing the economies to recover somewhat, but I think that the size of the effort is much more needed in the future.
Another interest rate cut perhaps this year?
Sure.
All right, Mr. You'll be watching that story very closely. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you very much.